So, hey, folks. I'm alive. I'm alive. I was watching a video on my break yesterday. There's this shirt on backwards. It's really pulling up on my neck. And according to the video, Australia is putting into law in their country, if you are a kid under 16, you cannot be on social media. They don't want you going on YouTube, putting yourself out there. They're saying that they're blurring the lines between kids and adults. You don't put children on the internet. And they're on it. They're on it here. They're on it all over. And I've watched young ladies today slide into the abyss, the internet. They find out that the only way to get the views is to start taking off more and more clothing, crew gobs of makeup, dye their hair, and it works. Little girls are learning how to be sluts online. They're learning that the way to make money to get the views is to be a slut tease. And I agree with Australia. I mean, there's kids that come on my channel, and if they can listen to be mature, cool. But the problem is the lines are blurred. Facebook should be in big trouble for what they're doing. Facebook is putting a stumbling block before grown men and young men by allowing girls to get on reels, no bras, nipples showing. I mean, it is a problem. And Zuckerberg, the big almighty censor everybody who voted for Trump, why is he not doing something about that? Reddit and Craigslist canceled their personals after legislation was passed in the House and the Senate to go after child sex trafficking, and they shut down the personals. You used to get on Craigslist. You had casual encounters, men seeking men, women seeking women, men seeking women, women seeking men, simply platonic, whatever. You had a raft of categories. And adults used to imbibe in whatever they wanted to. I remember one time in Denver, I used to read the Craigslist ads on YouTube, and that was a hit. People said, Mike, keep reading the Craigslist ads. Those are funny. 50-year-old man, I want to wear diapers and I want to be treated like a baby. I want somebody to be my mommy. I'll wear diapers. Please hold me in your lap. I'm like, oh my gosh. 75-year-old man says, I want to wear dress and panties and I want to be your little B word. I mean, it was a haven for fruity stuff, crazy stuff, decadent stuff. And some people, I dated a few women on Craigslist. All of them turned out to be an epic fail. But hey, I did Craigslist dating. I am the few, the proud, the Craigslist dater. And guess what? It's 2025 and I'm still alive to tell about it. It's crazy. But Reddit, they cut back on things. And in Georgia here, they're shutting down certain porn, or you cannot get access to like Pornhub and certain things. But Australia has passed into law, no teens on the social media. You cannot put yourself out there. The UK is arresting people. They're knocking on doors and you're being arrested for something you posted on social media, not teens, but adults. Now, the UK is going too far. Should children be allowed on the internet? And I used to think, now I'm starting to go, no, because I'm watching it ruin them. There's a young lady I've followed because she left kind comments on my channel. She's very pretty. And I've watched her transition from cute to now she's following the same way. Let's dye the hair. Let's listen to crummy music. Let's have the shirt off the shoulder and the bra strap showing. And now she's getting traction because does anybody ever remember the story? I was living in Colorado when the story broke ground about JonBenét Ramsey, the little girl by the caca parents that she had, and they were caca. Rich parents tried to make a beauty slut out of this little girl, goo gobs of makeup, and she got killed. The Ramseys did not cooperate or meet with the police. You and me, let's try to do that. They didn't get arrested for that. If you and I do not cooperate with the police, we can be arrested. But they had money. Mrs. Ramsey ended up dying, and Mr. Ramsey is now happily remarried and living in Atlanta, last I heard. And then something came out a couple years ago where he admitted his son did it. CU Boulder students had stuff in the hallways claiming that written posters saying Daddy's little girl. They thought Daddy had killed her. It's interesting that she got killed in the house the night of some festivities. And she was in the basement, blunt force trauma, raped, all this. And it was found that Mrs. Ramsey handwrote a 3-page letter, and analysts looked at the letter and said it was clearly hers. Why were they protecting a so-called autistic kid? Because rich people are very, 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 very telling. They like to show off. They wanted to put their little daughter out there, and they got traction for that. Now there's problems in the Ramsey family. There's a killer on the loose. Did the son do it, or did dad do it? Nobody really knows. They claim the son did. Why wasn't he locked up? Good question. You know, there's cases that have gone on in my lifetime that were a joke. The OJ case was one of them. Talk about a dog and pony show circus. He killed Nicole Brown Simpson. He killed Ronald Goldman. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt. Blood in the Bronco. A week later, the Bronco chase. Let me go 45 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour down the LA freeways with all of the LAPD helicopters, people cheering on the freeway. You think they're going to let me keep doing that? They're going to have spike strips down. They're going to blow out my tires. Remember, though, those folks are calling us privileged. OJ was treated with kid gloves, and he got to joyride around LA while blacks stood on the middle of the cement dividers on the LA freeway system cheering him on. You think you as a white guy could do that? And they try to make it a racist case. Not only did OJ do it, but when they had the civil trials, he got his pantsuit off. Wrongful death, everything. It's funny how one court finds them all this guilt, but then a jury, you know why the jury came up with the decision they came up with? Scared shitless. They did not want LA to turn up into riots. That whole thing was a joke. And now it's 2025. And the African American community in the United States has more power and control than you and I do. They've got police afraid. They've got school districts afraid. Workplaces cater to them and their bad behavior. They're afraid to fire them. You as a white guy, you get fired right now. In fact, I'm a living proof of that. I did a video, 3 minutes long, talking about the white woman beat down in Cincinnati. No reason for that. And somebody claimed somebody said the N-word. I said, even if they did, so what? The blacks use it all the time in their music. And I meet blacks right here in Augusta that say, there's nothing wrong if we use it. I said, what are you talking about? The crazy thinking in the African American community where they think it's okay to sing, speak out, N-I-G-G-A, N-I-G-G-E-R. Michael doesn't use that word. But if a white guy says it, oh, it's racist time. You ever hear two Mexicans calling each other S-P-I-C-S? No, you don't. And I don't want to get on that. We've watched change has been in the air since 2020. The Democrats. Let's allow illegals to come in. Let's allow Somalis to pour into Minneapolis. They hate us. Ilhan Omar has sheer hatred and contempt for our Constitution, for Jewish people, for us. What are you doing here, lady? Why would you come to a country that you cannot stand? And then you have Palestinians flying Palestinian flags here. Oh, well, if it was so great, Honey Bunches of Oats, why'd you leave it? Why don't you put your sorry butt down there and fight against Israel if you're so anti? They won't do that. What about Rashida Tlaib opening her vagina to menstruate all over society about how wrong Israel? Well, go down there and fight, girl. You're big mouth. Go down there and fight. Put up or shut up. They don't want to go back. Somalia is waving their little Somali flags. And a black woman got on my channel and said, racism must be a drug. I said, is that why you do it? She didn't respond. You know, I'm not allowed to talk about anything that disagrees with these other races because I'm automatically branded a racist. Where's that? Where's the book that states that? Is it in the Bible? The Bible says speak the truth. You speak the truth today, you're going to lose your job. You speak the truth today, you're going to lose friends. You speak truth today, you're going to be Michael Nelson on the internet who's able to reach people, but in my personal world, nobody wants to get close to a man who's telling the truth. No, they don't. Not even in church. And I talk about things, and people are leaving comments on my video yesterday that some of the hardest people I've had to deal with are so-called born-again Christians. Rude, nasty, and they never see what they're doing is wrong. I have an ex-wife. I was talking to one of my moderators, Eric. There's two guys I've become very close friends with because of the internet and this YouTube specifically. And I'm thankful to God for them. And my ex-wife, never, ever, ever, ever. She was a Christian, but she never took ownership for the wrong she did in the marriage. She just projected. Michael this, Michael that, Michael this. My mother, same thing. The woman that I got involved with in Hong Kong, same thing. Why is it that there's people in this world that claim to be Christian that have no self-awareness? Why? Gotta blow my nose. The air quality here was 108 yesterday. That's terrible. Terrible. So I don't have a cold. People are sneezing and coughing, and I'm doing good because I work in warehouses all day. They're not heated or AC, and there's dust a go-go. The old saying, a little dirt will never hurt. By the way, for those of you that are interested, Dollar Tree has these very cool sprays for $1.25, and they work. They got a good smell, and it actually seems to hold. Body sprays, not for the nose. And I don't want to get on a kick about my ex. I don't like to even say her name. That's how much I cannot stand her. Do I have a hatred? No, well, maybe I'm splitting hairs. I have some contempt. I have no respect. You know, and you got people saying, well, I'm friends with my ex. Well, how can you be friends with her, but you left her? What's going on with that? And guess what? It all comes back to something. Maybe you should have been friends first before you got married. That opens up a whole nother window, doesn't it? We date and we mate. And we don't get married because we can date and mate, even though God's word condemns it. The Bible says, there must not even be a hint of sexual immorality among you, which is not fitting for God's people. Well, honey, there's a lot of sexual immorality in my mind every day. I haven't dated in almost 8 years. I mean, I have had some women come over and on their own, they pulled their shirt up and we kissy-touchied, but no sex. And it's, I don't understand why people go to titty bars. I've never understood that. I don't need to. If I just wait long enough, somebody will come around that wants me to see her breasts. And I mean, nobody's come lately. Don't think that I've got an open titty bar in my house. That's not the case. But women are interesting. When they're into you, they want to show you their stuff. That I don't even have to ask for it. I don't have to be rude. I don't have to be unbecoming. I've had people sent me pictures of their tots right through my internet. Oh, okay, those are nice. Thanks for sharing. People want to be noticed. They want to be validated. I don't take pictures of my junk and put that to anybody. No need. Excuse me. Notice when the temperature goes down, the air quality goes to the toilet. Same in Denver. Denver had that brown cloud, and sometimes if you plug your nose, you can avert a sneeze. Anyways, we have sex before marriage. And the Bible very much speaks against that. Very much. But we do it. Many of us have done it. A guy I work with told me yesterday he's a celibate man who loves God. I'm training him. He was walking to work, just got to the edge of the driveway. A woman pulled over. That does not happen to me, by the way. Pulled over and said, "Hey, get in." He goes, "Well, I'm already here." She drove him in the lot, asked for his phone number, and said, now watch this. He told me the story. He's walking back against her. She pulls up and she said, "There was something about your eyes that told me you're a man of God. I'm a truck driver and I want a man that I can talk about the Bible with." And he says, "Mike, check this out. She didn't see my eyes. I'm walking against traffic, or walking with traffic." I said, "Women are interesting, aren't they?" She asked for his phone number. Women don't ask us for our phone number, do they? Well, if they're interested. The black community is very different. Black women will be very much proactive. I actually like that, by the way. Because with white women in our culture, you ask a woman for her phone number and you don't. I never do. If I've been interested in a woman, I'll say, "Hey, you want to go to a movie or you want to go to dinner sometime, just hang out, let me know." "Oh, okay." These are the women that go, "Mike," like cats, I had a cat years ago named Tiger. I liked Tiger. Tiger striped, made sense, call her Tiger. Mammoth, I'd sit in a big old Naugahyde overstuffed chair to watch TV, and the cat would sit on the little table between the two chairs. My sister and I used to fight for the closest chair to the TV, and she'd beat me to it, and I'd wait for a movie to start or whatever, and I'd sneak up behind her, and I'd grab the back of the chair, and I'd pull it down on its back real fast. Well, it was very comfortable. Oh, man, as scared as she screamed, and then she goes, "Oh my gosh, do that again." I said, "I'm going to do it when you don't expect it. Scare the stuff out of you." But I'm sitting in the chair, and the cat would sit there, and cat wanted to be petted. Pet, 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 scratch the ears, scratch the ears. Okay. You ever notice when you pet the cat too much, they start to bite you? They get overstimulated, but they still want to be petted, and they're trying to bite. It's like, all right, get your teeth off me, cat. And When I stop, Tiger would take her right front paw and prick, prick. Oh, you want to be petted some more? I'd stop. That was a pretty smart cat. It had a way of saying, yo, don't stop petting me. Women are like that. Women are like cats. You chase after them and they stalk off with their tail in the air. And they got that look on their face. No. Then when you're busy doing something and your mind's not even on them, they jump up right in the middle of what you're doing. You know, I'll be working on something on a table and the cat will just jump up and walk through it. I'm like, cat, do not. And the cat walks by again, gets in the middle of my stuff, tail in my face, rubs its head against me. That's exactly the way women are. They want you when you're not thinking about it. And when you're thinking about it, they stalk off. The minute you go to approach them, they're going to get up and go, pfft. Why is that? The men are like dogs. Yeah. Scooby snack. We're terrible that way. It's almost sickening when you think about it. Why did God make us so different? But anyways, he told me. I said, was she pretty? He's 35. She's 33. You know, we talked on the phone last night. He told me yesterday. I said, how'd it go? He says she almost got offended when I told her, you know, I'm celibate. I said, really? We become comfortable. I mean, I'm guilty. I'm guilty as all get out. If I was dating a woman and we got chemistry, yeah, she was availing herself. I'm not strong enough to say, well, no, we're going to wait till marriage. 2 reasons for that. Maybe I had to just say it. Maybe because I have no self-control. Maybe I'm not exercising self-control. Maybe because I feel like marriage is a joke today. And we turned dating into mini marriage. You get involved, you become one, then there's the breakup. And you'll spend more time talking about all the bad stuff than the amount of time you actually dated and knew each other. Another fire log to add to your drama pile. Sad. God didn't make us to be like that. Pardon me. Do you have any Grey Poupon? And we do that. Some people call it soul ties. And you know, I've dated a few women in my life, Hong Kong especially, and I've got a lot of things to compare. You know, I was doing my own Mambo number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a good piece of music, by the way. I love all that. And the trumpet. Mambo number 5. That's just good music. A little bit of Rita is all I need. Let's be honest, men. Many of us, if we could have a harem, we would like that. Sometimes we're more like Baskin Robbins, 31 flavors. I mean, that wasn't uncommon in the Old Testament. I talked to you about Jacob. He wanted Rachel, he got Leah, and he got 2 thrown in for 14 years of hard labor. And just like at the beginning of the Olympics, once those 2 were married to him, let the games begin. Da, 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 da. And the next event is the battle of 2 women vying for Jacob's attention. You can have the mandrakes if you let me sleep with him tonight. Okay, I'll take the mandrakes. Crazy. I still want to know what was going on with the mandrakes. Were they an aphrodisiac? What was the deal with the mandrakes? Do we even have them anymore? Do they exist? Should I be eating mandrakes? Do you guys believe in aphrodisiacs? Anybody want a thumbs up, men or women? Do you believe in aphrodisiacs? Do foods eaten really create sexual horniness? I'm curious about that. I'm very curious about that. There's a one. I used to think it was tuna for me. Funny, I say the word tuna. I don't mean it in a dirty sense, but I used to think seafood got me highly aroused. Well, I'm 59 and I've done enough paying attention to myself, and I'm like, no, people are going to laugh when I say this. I don't like hair on my chest. I don't got a Chewbacca hair problem on my chest or back, but I do shave, and I like my chest smooth. And after I shave and I lotion, it feels so smooth. And yeah, I know women talk about when they touch their nipples, it arouses them. When I touch myself, it arouses me. I like my body. I like the feel of it. The greatest experience I ever had was being in Tampa on a Florida day where the sky was completely overcast, but it was so warm. I mean, if I'd have gotten caught for this, I would have been arrested. No doubt. And I went deep off the paved trails of Flatwoods Park, deep into what I call the Florida jungle, and I took off all my clothes. Man, that felt so good. If people think you should be in a nudist colony, I would enjoy that. That's why I like going to the steam bath, because I discovered something. I like my nudity, especially as I get older. You know, when you're a kid, you're all self-conscious. I was self-conscious all my life. I never, ever, in the house or out, walked around without a shirt off. I was taught to believe I was ugly. And people see me on the internet now. It's been said of me, I was always behind the eight ball, that I wasn't with my current peers. I got held back in 6th grade. I couldn't get basic concepts. I told you, when I was in 6th grade and they told us to write a will for the yearbook, I didn't know what a will was. The only thing I knew was I will go to the drinking fountain. That's it. Nobody sat down and told me basic stuff. I was dumb as a stump. When I was a kid, I was focused on 2 things: trucks and snow. That's it. I love snow. I love living in Mammoth. My dad complained and fussed about the snow. Well, Dad, why'd you move here? The Sierra Nevadas get some of the highest snowfalls anywhere in the world. People don't believe me. Go look it up. 50 feet of snow in Mammoth just, 2-3 years ago? 50 total feet in the winter. Chairlifts were buried. 2-story cathedral roof houses were buried. I mean, when you had a base on Mammoth Mountain of 232 inches, and Colorado's got a base of 21, and everybody brags about Colorado. Colorado don't get snow like Mammoth does, ever. You'll see Trail Ridge Road up there by Estes Park, and you see these tall snowbanks. Mammoth beat that hands down. Colorado got all the press. Mammoth never did. Mammoth was like quiet. When you saw a skiing magazine, Mammoth wasn't in there. It was Tahoe, it was Vail, it was Big Bear, it was Aspen, Telluride, Steamboat, Whistler up in Canada, and I think they had a ski resort up in Vermont even. Beaver Creek, Colorado. Mammoth was kind of like skiers' best kept secret. But I sat in class every time it snowed. I could give 2 cents about what the teacher was saying. I'm like, look at the snow out there. We had to read Junior Scholastica. Anybody remember that in school? Boring! You're in 6th grade. And we're learning about OPEC. What sixth grader is interested in OPEC? I didn't know any. And you read this stuff about the Iran-Iraq war and the OPEC and oil price. I'm like, what does this have to do with me? I like trucks and snow. But I do remember my grandmother would write letters from California. Michael, I'm writing to you in my gold Rambler station wagon. Waiting in line, it's my day to get gas. You know, OPEC created a problem. And they gas rationed, and when your license plate ended in even or odd, you could go on that day and get gas. And you pulled up in line and turned off your car. In LA. Now that made more sense to me than reading Junior Scholastica. And I'm like, who aces this kind of stuff? What's really funny is I wasn't up on current events. Now today I'm interested because I'm a Christian. And I'm interested in going, is this setting the stage for biblical prophecy? You see, when you become a Christian, then things become interesting to you. When I was a kid hearing about billions of years old Earth and dinosaurs and cavemen and all this, I'm like, meh. When I got saved, then I was fascinated. Man, there wasn't no cavemen. And yes, dinosaurs existed, and this isn't billions of years old. Then suddenly, I wanted to get educated. The guy that I'm training is a big guy. He looks like he's a sports hero. And I thought, oh, I bet you the women are going nuts over him. And there's a very kind black woman that brought him to our workplace to fill out an application. And she helped him find a boarding house and a place. Till he gets back on his feet. And he was at a place. And the woman kicked him out because he said, do you have bus fare? And she said, you need to leave. I said, you got kicked out because you asked for bus fare to get to work? He goes, yeah, I asked her twice, and apparently she said you asked over and over again, but I only asked her twice because she didn't answer the first time. So I called the lady from the charitable organization. Mike, she came and let me sleep in her house. I said, you're kidding me. Folks, that takes a lot of gut. I've met the woman. I met her. I've talked to her before, but yesterday I met her. I said, you are such a wonderful person. That takes guts. You going to let a man, 310 pounds, 6'8", stay the night in your house? Woo, baby, that's risky. She claims to be a Christian. She's trying to help her own people. I can't fault her for that. I cannot say a negative word. What do we do for our own people? Nothing. You know, white people tend to just, you got to pull yourself up, buddy. I hate that. I hate that so much when people say, hey, bud. I hate the word bud. I hate that. I don't like it when people refer to me as bud. It's offensive to me. That's just me. I know I'm different. I'm not somebody's bud. Sport is another one. There was a guy at Denver Schools, big strapping mechanic. I respected him. He's good at what he did. He knew school buses well. He was a great mechanic. I'd say, hey, Clay. Hey, sport. I said, Clay, I'm not sport. Everybody's sport to me. I call everybody sport. And I only accepted it because it's true. Sport is something you call your son when he's little. Hey, sport. Hey, bud. Again, child-directed speech that adults are now using to other adults. Do you notice our society's dumbing down? A black woman pulled over and offered this big guy a ride, asked for his phone number. You think an attractive white woman's going to pull over if I ever walked? Shoot, they're going to aim for the puddle and splash my butt. That's our culture. Every white guy will aim for that slush puddle. Oh, I used to hate walking in the spring. Because whites can be douchebags. They'll aim for the puddle and then laugh. And what's sad about that is they fail to realize I'd like to come by in a bus or a truck right when they open the door. Boosh! All inside the cab and all over them and go, you like that, buddy? Was that fun? Sport? That's one of the biggest problems in American culture today. People are rude on this internet. They make derogatory comments. They do stupid stuff with their cars because they're driving away, little chickens. But if somebody were to do it to them, oh. I saw a cute one. I had to make a left turn on a highway. And when I leave work, it's busy. Usually I get to the middle lane, signal, wait, and then move. And I saw to my right, way down there, a guy made a right turn out of a street. I made my left. He jackrabbits into the left lane, not the right. And I sped up. I got a 6-cylinder, so it's not. The guy was up my butt right now. I looked in the mirror. I'm like, oh, now you're going to play self-right. You didn't turn into the correct lane. I turned into the correct lane. You don't have to turn in the middle lane. I had it wide open. But he's 2 blocks away, and he, whoop, rode my tail just to go 2 blocks and then turn into one of the businesses. And people are something else. And this is our society. It's a jerk-off culture. It doesn't matter where you go in America. People suck behind the wheel. People will get in the left lane and block the left lane and bully people out of their way. But if you were to come up and do that to them, oh, they're going to brake check you. You know, all you clowns out there that say God doesn't exist, you're foolish. You know, the golden rule says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. When you got your signal going and you're trying to merge onto a freeway, doesn't it make you feel good when somebody flashes their lights and lets you in? But no, you got a lot of Americans, I'm not going to let him in. Man, he's using his blinker. He's yielding. Let him in. What is so hard about being nice? You got to be a butthead. And I saw this shift. You're going to hate me, but Roseanne Barr was one of the first. Cynical, crusty woman. Then you had, I don't remember the order, South Park, Beavis and Butthead, and all these stupid, rude, sarcastic shows. And I didn't like it back then. I did like the word butthead. I used it freely. We pride ourselves on put-downs, sarcasm, satire. And the Bible says to be tender-hearted, kind-hearted. Notice it says be. And I bring this up because when you're in the professional world, you're not acting professional. When I was at Denver schools, and they weren't the only ones that said it, but we'd greet each other, and as we're walking to our buses, somebody'd say, be safe, Mike. I thought, be safe. That's a good greeting. Be cognizantly safe. When you drive your car and truck, be safe. Don't be a butthole. Be safe. Get to your destination safely. Don't play competition. Don't play, I'm going to teach him. The driver's manuals teach when you make a right turn, you go into the right lane. Then you signal, when safe, moving to the left. You don't make a right turn into the left lane, and then you see somebody who's trying to get across a highway who had the right of way to go to that lane, and now you're going to roar up on his butt and be self-righteous. I wasn't even near you. You were gunned it up to 80 miles an hour. I cannot stand people. People like that should not have a license. Should give them a little tricycle with the tassels hanging off and that little ring, ding, ring. That's what you get to go to work in, bud. You cannot drive. You can ride a tricycle. Wouldn't that be a sight? And maybe if you grow up, you can go up to a big wheel. Plastic tires. That ought to be fun on a snowy day on a hill. But I think Australia's doing a good thing. Get the children off the internet. They can't post themselves anymore. That means Facebook. I wonder how they're going to prosecute that. I wonder how they're going to enforce that. That's going to be a pretty big thing to take on. But Australian government has said it's not safe. You're putting your children in danger? Let me be honest with you. You got lonely kids that aren't getting along with their classmates. They're trying to get into our adult world, and then they start to form a bond because they like somebody, and then the lines get blurred. It's not a good idea. Most of the parents don't know what their kids are doing on the internet. Number one. Number two, you have to put your age when you build an account. They're lying in YouTube. But Facebook Reels is soft porn. Underage soft porn. I'm glad I'm off Facebook. This stuff is coming through my feed. I'm like, how old is this girl with no bra and literally a shirt just under the edge of her nipples? And you're going, what are they doing? Why is the Facebook team not? And I'm going to say it. The Democratic Party in the USA is all for pedophilia. Have you heard Gavin Newsom? He's all pro-trans. They want to make it. They don't want to make it illegal if a grown man has a relationship with a young man homosexually. They want to allow that. You think I'm joking? Look into it. Weren't the Democrats the one that were against porn? Women are being exploited. Are they? No, I think they're getting paid well and they're voluntarily going to it. But the Democrats used to be against all that. When you look at what is going on, the floodgates of evil are being opened by the left. But at the same time, grown men are being demonized for having an attraction to a woman. If I have an attraction to a man, that society will encourage that and applaud that. But if I have an attraction towards a woman, you're punished. You're cock-blocked. You're emasculated. You're a stalker. You're a pervert. I'm not making this up. This is the damn truth. This is the truth. And that ought to open your eyes up. Democratic Party is not based on God's word at all. It doesn't reflect the values of God. Now, I don't encourage women to stop and just pull over a stranger on the road. That's risky stuff. But a black woman pulls up on a guy that tall and big and takes a chance. Then white women get online and they waste your time for 2 months with this internet typing warfare just for them to feel safe, for you to meet them in public, separate vehicles, and go to dinner? I don't do that no more. I don't got time to tell you all about my life over the internet if you won't even take the time to get to meet me. Ladies, you go to an agreed upon restaurant. You tell your friends, I'm going to meet this guy. This is his name. This is what he drives. If I go missing, you got a starting place. And here's his phone number. There you go. You know, you got safeguards. We men have none. None. How many men have had to change their phone number when the date didn't work out and the guy said, well, you know, it was nice to meet you, and then your phone's getting blown up. How come you won't talk to me? Well, I'm not interested. Why not? And then she's posting your number on a bathroom wall somewhere in America. Scary. Why does this do this? Now we're going to open it from the back end and make a mess. Bananas are supposed to open by grabbing the stem, but this one is handicapped. I love bananas. Nature's most perfect food, at least that's what I was taught. Loaded with potassium. Avocados are great, and I'm going to tell you, there is no mango like a Philippine mango. You can buy them at the store. They are not the same. When I went to Manila for 2 weeks in 2018, the lady I went to see, I said, oh man, these mangoes are so good. She cut it in half, and she'd crisscross the half, and you bent it back and could eat them right off of the skin. Man, was that good, sweet mango. I'm sorry, heaven to me, that's the closest thing to heaven was the taste of a mango. I love them. And avocados. I never had them as a kid. There's a book series called What to Expect with Your Toddler or Your Baby. And I think we had that floating around in our library when I was married, when we had a kid. And, you know, toddlers get into the texture thing. They'll vomit if something ain't the right texture. Well, avocado was green and slimy when I was a kid. I was like, I didn't have one until I braved it one day. Got done with my morning routes in Denver and went down Federal Boulevard to Denny's. And I tried the chicken avocado salad. You know, when I tried that avocado for the first time, I said, man, I can't believe I didn't try this years ago. This avocado is good stuff. An avocado has so many good things in it. And people will go to a vending machine. I saw it when I worked at transportation. Already obese women, unhealthy, knees acting up, heart conditions, in and out of the hospital. And they won't bring stuff from home. They'll go and hit the vending machine. And then they'll ask them, you got $2, you got for what? So you can buy crap out of the vending machine, and then they don't pay you back. That's classic. And then the same women say, Matt, how you say so skinny? And I would laugh. And I'd say, well, I don't eat out of that machine over there. Then everybody laugh. And then he called my name. Yeah, so-and-so, all that junk food. I said all that fried chicken. I tell you what, ladies, fried foods is the worst thing you can do. That should be a rare treat, not the main course. Fried battered foods is artery clogging crap. Baked chicken is the way to go. And I don't oven bake it. I'll take chicken thighs, boneless, skinless, put them in a skillet, low heat. When it starts to cook, I put some garlic powder, salt, and pepper, and cook it in its own juice. I like that dark meat. I like that dark meat in chicken and in women. I've always preferred tan-skinned women. I've been attracted to white women, but I prefer tan or brown. I just do. And chicken thighs are the best. I used to eat chicken breasts, which are white and dry. It's funny, there's a direct correlation. I'm sorry to say this is just my opinion. There's a direct correlation between dark meat in chicken and dark women, and white meat in chicken and white women. White meat is very dry. White meat can be pretty bland, and you're chewing it and it's dry and it's just not as flavorful. And I'm building an illustration here. And we're going to talk about something. This is my experience. I was very attracted to Filipinos and Asian. They're very interesting. They're very lively. They're very into dancing and music. And so many white people see me dancing on my YouTube and make crappy comments. Guys, especially, WTF? Congratulations, you learned 3 letters of the alphabet. WTF. Now you just got 23 to go, bud. Get on it. I'm sarcastic because they've made me that way. I'm like, it's called dancing. It's called expression. You ought to try it sometime. You ever seen a group of grown men together? Big old beards, Carhartts on, or what's that store, Cabela's? Oh, I'm going to get in trouble here. Hunter jacket, hunter green stuff, and the Chevy Silverados or the Avalanche that had that Cabela's wallpaper all over it. Ugly. Now, I liked my M35, which was camo, but hunter camo is as ugly as it gets. I'm not against hunters. I talk to hunters. But yeah, men can be pretty boring too. And it's those kind that'll laugh at me. Hey, I'm sorry I'm more colorful and more lively than you are, but you don't have to come here and say trash to me. You don't want to watch, don't watch. And I'm amazed that in our culture is extremely judgmental. And I am too. But I try to judge rightly. I love it when people say, I don't judge. That's a lie. Everybody judges. The minute you say a statement, you've judged. He just ran a stop sign. You just judged. No, I didn't. You just judged. You just said he ran the stop sign. No, I'm telling the truth, but you judged. To him, he didn't think he ran the stop sign. It's a matter of interpretation. You see where I'm going with this? This is how stupid people get. Well, a day doesn't mean day. Oh, okay. Well, the stop sign doesn't mean stop. Until somebody runs it and hits you, then you want to turn it. He ran the stop sign. No, he didn't. He went and rolled through it. He made a semi-stop. No, I'm a literalist. When it says stop, you put your bumper behind the white line or behind the stop sign and you come to a complete stop. You look and you go. But Americans that are in a hurry, they like to, oh, let me cut off that car. Ow. I don't care what people think of me. I know my mind is intact. And it hit me yesterday. You know what bothers me? That I wasn't smart enough to learn how to make big money and not be subject to the foolishness of dealing with idiot and coworkers and bad management and stuff. Now, I don't have that going on where I'm at. I have a coworker that's a pain in the butt. He lost his job at Walmart. He told me this because he told some guy who had pants sag going on, not a coworker. He was a stalker, whatever, and he told the guy to pull up his pants. And the guy turned around and said, F you, and he turned around and cussed him back, and he went and reported him, and, well, he lost his job. Well, you overstepped your bounds, dude. Yesterday, as I'm going through the warehouse, he's bent over a pallet, and I see that much of his red butt cheeks, and I'm like, oh, gosh, I did not need, just that sight, I don't care for him anyway, so that was just another added And by the way, I didn't sit at the lunch table near him. Everybody noticed that. I went over to the one by the window. Mike, why are you going over? I said, the sun feels good on my back. It's been so cold, and it was shining in through the window. I used to do that when I lived in Prescott and I was in high school on a weekend, and it'd be cold outside in Arizona, northern Arizona. And Prescott was a mile high, and I'd get on the top bunk in my bedroom, and the afternoon sun would go in there and warm my body. And I had a big 6-foot stereo, and I'd put on ELO album, or I'd put on the radio, and I'd fall asleep. It's so funny how this works. At night, I can't sleep with all that stuff. But when I'm tired in the middle of the day, I'll have the music blasting, and I'll just lay there in the sun. I'm like a cat. Oh, Phil, those kind of naps are the best. And I sat over there, and I could see the whole room. I'm like that. I like to sit in a place where I've got a commanding view, especially today, with the way people are. I took a woman on not a date, but an outing this last year. And we went in the booth, and she deliberately said, I said, hey, that's my spot. She goes, what do you mean? I said, I like to sit where I can see. She goes, that's why I do that. I said, but I'm the man. You should let me. She wasn't going to do it. I don't like my back to the door and to the people. You have no way to react. I like to see. Some armed gunman comes walking in there. I want to know my exits and say, we got trouble. Grab my hand. Let's go. Alamande right now. I mean, even when I'm in the bathroom, it's got a drop ceiling. How high does the wall go if I got to stand on the toilet and the handicap rails to escape if some gunman's running loose in here? My mind thinks that way. You don't live in fear. I don't. But you should be cognizant when you're in a place. If I had to run, where can I go? Okay, there's a back exit there. I know there's one behind the bar because they got to have a fire exit. I'll run around that bar counter and I'll go right through that back room if I got to. When I used to ride the Colfax bus in Denver, they had the window where you could lift the latches and push the whole window out of the city bus. I familiarized myself with escape routes. There have been known to be brawls and fights on that bus, and if you can't get to the back door or the front door and that bus is stopped, I'm using the emergency exit. No one's going to get me in trouble for doing that. We got an emergency. Why'd you open the window? They're fighting and they're stopped and I don't want to get hit. I'm getting out of the bus. I remember I was sitting there one day and this bus had clear non-tinted windows. And I'm sitting there and the bus pulls up at a stop and some black guy, it's snowing in Denver, and he wads up a snowball, hits the window dead in front of me, and I just went, it just went, and I just went, okay, dude. Colfax bus, the old men that come on there with their brown bag wrapped around their bottle, or the teen middle school students that start pulling out the weed. And I said, young man, you light that baby up. I'm going to let the driver know. I don't want to smell that pot on the bus. Put it away. He looked at me and he started fishing in his pocket. I'm like, this is a public bus, dude. Not today. I used to ride that back in the 90s. I remember taking Greyhound as a kid. I wouldn't get on a Greyhound bus today unless I had a bulletproof vest and an AK-47 with a clip around me. Hi, everybody. I'm taking a bus. Why you got all that? No, just making sure everybody's going to behave. No thanks. You notice how that's changed? The bus used to be good people rode the bus. Good people find a way to go somewhere else or fly. They're not going to get on that thing. But watch this. Watch what our society's doing. They're driving the cost of everything up so high. that pretty soon they're going to make all of us have to find alternate means to get around. Scary. Scary. But we as Christians need to take hope in one thing. The Bible says, be anxious for nothing, but by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. We don't have a heavenly Father who just saves us and stands back. He doesn't pull the top string and let us just go. He's involved. And he promised to meet our needs. He promised that. Not Joel Osteen's greeds. Not these televangelists, Kenneth Copeland. That guy is the devil. Have you listened to Kenneth Copeland? Guy got Lear jets. He bought Tyler Perry's jet. It was so cheap, I had to buy it. Kenneth Copeland is a wolf. Not even in sheep's clothing. He's a wolf. He is a money-loving, he's addicted to money. He doesn't love the Lord. He doesn't follow Jesus Christ. He doesn't stand true to the Word of God. There's a lot of people in the pulpit that are in the pulpit because they make good money. They're not preaching the truth. They're fleecing people. And this is why Christians need to use discernment, because you look stupid when you go to those kind of places and you give your money to those kind of places. The Bible says be wise. You got a preacher living in a 17,000 square foot house. That's not exactly a parsonage. Last time I had an awesome preacher was Pastor Holiday up in Duluth, Minnesota at Emmanuel Baptist Church. They had the church, and then it was a 1950s church and house, and the small, simple brick parsonage. And he took a modest salary, lived in the house for free. And the pastor preached the truth, and he lived simply. He didn't have fancy cars and big bank account. He modeled what he believed. Now you got these clowns that are multimillionaires. That's messed up. That ain't right. That ain't right. Pimping the Word of God for profit. Pimping. These pastors are pimps. And they're going to stand before God and give an account of that. Joel Osteen's empire is starting to crumble. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One, not because everybody's getting discernment, but a lot of people are financially taking a hit. They can't afford to give. And once people are becoming aware of just how rich Joel Osteen is, they start going, why am I giving money to this? Yeah, good question. You know, it's one thing by Scripture to give your tithe to the Lord. But the Bible doesn't tell us to give our tithe for some preacher to get rich. The tithe should cover the expenses of the ministry, not television, not Lear jets. And offerings should be covering missionaries, missions. People are actually out there. I remember when I was in Denver, I went to Riverside Baptist Church. A white family, they were missions in Mexico City. And they were asking the church to give them enough money. He said, we want to get our couches and our flat screen TVs and all of our American stuff down here. I thought you were in missions, bruh. I couldn't believe that. Could not believe that. Then a pastor come onto the church when Rick died. He came from Alaska. He wanted the church to reimburse him $15,000 or $20,000 for moving from Alaska. I've driven U-Hauls. I've driven a lot of U-Hauls, and I did some checking to find out what it is to get a U-Haul from Anchorage down to Denver. It was nowhere near 15K. That was years ago, too, not now. Now, who do these people think they are? Maybe you ought to sell some of your crap. And you're going to go to Mexico and you want to bring all your furniture and your stuff down there? I thought you were missions. When I think of being a missionary, I think of sacrifice. When you go to another country, you're not there to bring your American culture and get comfy. You're down there to roll up your sleeves in the village and get down where the people are at and model the gospel. Man, I'll tell you what, people, be careful where you're giving your money. Look at YouTube. Look at social media. People throw their money at complete foolish channels. I saw a girl on there, scantily clad, stuck up, on YouTube. My memberships are only this much. I'm like, who wants a membership to this channel? They showed another one who had 15,000 piercings all in her face and all down the nose, the ears. Why are people donating to this? But they do. People would rather spend their money on foolishness and throw it away at false teachers and preachers. Wow. But then they'll complain about tithing their local church. They'll complain about giving at their church, but they'll buy themselves an SUV with all the bells and whistles and spend $8 every day, twice a day for Starbucks. Yeah, Starbucks. They're seeing stars. They're making so many bucks. Guy was clever. He played on emotionally driven logic. Women love their coffee. Let's add some flavors to it and I can get rich. Corporate America zeroes in on women and their feelings. And they are taking it to the bank. That's why it takes a man and a woman. And I know boys can get caught up in their toys. But it seems to me that women are the least likely to manage their money in the sexuals between male and female. Just my observation. It's been cold this week. My hands are cracking open at the cuticles. When it's cold, it gets drier, even though the humidity's up at 57, 60%. I remember when I was in Denver, my hands would crack at the edge of the fingernails all the time. I had to slather it up. I used this vitamin E cream or Nivea. I tried Bag Balm once in the green square can from Vermont. That's actually for milking cows. That stuff is so thick, you got to put on socks or gloves. I don't use it. I need something you can rub in and go on about your day. I'm not wearing socks over my hands to bed. That's crazy. Thing fall off in the night and you grab to scratch your face and I'm amazed that in 2025, people are still easily deceived. That's another reason I know evolution isn't true. We're not getting better. Technology's improved. Manners have gone down. Drivers have gotten worse. There's more crime. Stop and let that soak in. If we're evolving, then why are things getting worse? Why is it product development is getting worse? That truck you buy is not going to be here in 50 years or 25. They're charging more for less. The clothing you buy. So I wear the t-shirts underneath my clothing, and I'm like, I haven't even an hour into the day, and I'm like, what the hell? Why does this stink? I put on my deodorant. And these shirts I'm buying they're saying 100% cotton or a long den or whatever. And I bought shirts. Some were cotton, some were not. They're 50-50. Polyester. Folks, polyester and armpits don't go well together. Even though I put on deodorant, just your sweat coming onto that material, it is rank. I'm throwing these damn shirts out. Anything that's polyester that I cannot wear in a sweat environment, gone. And I noticed that. Pretty soon they're going to tell us cotton is racist and they're going to ban it all. And then they're going to have everybody smelling like ripe pits. And what happened to cotton? Go to the store, find 100% cotton. It's getting harder. They used to be the staple in this country. Corporations, are you listening? Please don't manufacture polyester. We learned in the 70s it didn't work. Does anybody remember going to the disco? Do you remember how lovely it smelled? Men and women sweating and dancing. You walked in, it smelled like the world's largest armpit. Well, I can tell by the way it smells in here. I'm leaving here very soon. Deodorant. I mean, nothing turns you out more than sweaty armpits. And polyester is nasty stuff. Why do they make it? Pew. I'm very conscientious about myself. Me smelling odors on me is not okay. Not. And you get so hot here in the South, you sweat. And then you get salt stains. All the salt's coming out of your body. I'm like, my gosh. So when I drove the bus and I had no AC and you're in your seat just dripping wet, I get down the bus routes, go to the men's bathroom, lock the door, take my shirt off, run to the faucet, get the hand soap, get it all lathered up, rinse it out, put it on. For about an hour and a half, my body's nice and cool because as the breeze blows, it's wet. That's a trick I learned, and I'll be doing that here in the summer. We have no AC, and it'll be hot. So funny. Sometimes I wish God would give us like you can make your own avatar. I wish we could do that. Okay, I don't want hair to grow from here on down except down here and here. That's it. And I want my skin to be slightly tan. I want green eyes. And I want less sweat. How about that? Watching a program years ago, they had couples on talking about quirks and what irritated each other. And when a husband and wife would sit and watch TV, she said, it makes me mad when he picks his feet. Picks his feet. The ex-wife I had of 14 years, I swear, there are women in this world that just know how to irritate you to no end. My ex-wife liked to get pizza, either delivered or the personal throw it in the microwave or not the microwave, the oven. And she didn't eat pizza like anybody I know. We'd be sitting there on the couch watching TV at the coffee table in Aurora, Colorado. What a dumb place to live. Saudi Aurora. I hated it out there. And she'd get her pizza on the plate. Instead of picking up the triangle and eating it like most people do, she'd grab a fork with the plate in one hand and she'd go, grinding down on the porcelain or china or whatever. I said, what are you doing? What? I'm eating. I said, no, why are you using a fork? because that's the way I like to do it. I said, well, it's really irritating. Oh my gosh, we're trying to watch a show. What are you doing? Anybody got stories like that about their woman? I said, that ain't normal. She would blow up at me. Why do you got to be so contrary? Pick the piece up and eat it like most people eat pizza. It's finger food. Shoot, I talked to a woman in Shillong, India years ago online, and she would eat with her hands, even the messy stuff. Okay, that's different. I'm glad for silverware. And then she drank milk out of a goblet. A goblet. I thought, boy, I married an off-the-wall chick. 14 years of dealing with all of that and a boatload of other stuff, because I'm not going to talk about it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Better to live on the corner of a rooftop than with a woman like that. Be careful what you ask for, men. That cute thing that you're so head over heels for could be the death of you. And women too. You think it's cool to marry a thug life guy? You could be next on his little checklist to be killed and thrown in a ditch. Things don't make sense today. They just don't. I love women. Well, I love the looks on a woman. It's rare to meet beauty and intelligence at the same time in a female. What you have in American society is very good-looking women that have zero intelligence, or women that have an incredible amount of intelligence and no beauty. When you get the two together, and women would say in our white culture, oh, men are afraid of a good-looking, smart woman. No, we're not. We just don't run into those two together at the same time. My observations. But I do know this. The better looking a woman is, the more tendency there is for her to be stuck up, narcissist, materialistic, high maintenance. But not just them. You got the plus size crowd, the extra thick, BBWs, obese, fat, whatever you want to call it. They got an attitude now. And you know what I've learned? When men want to eat out of your pig trough, that inflates their ego. When they got a man who wants them, that's an ego booster. And that's why they're like that. Black woman, hugely obese, big giant mole. I mean, big old one. Years ago, I was fueling my bus. She pulls up at the other island. I can't see her, but I hear her. Hey, Mike. Yeah? I like you better with short hair, because I was growing my hair then. And somebody types, what's up, bud? Don't you love the boys that want to be a smart aleck when I just said something about that? Bye-bye, Felicia. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm pumping the fuel. And everything in me wanted to say, you know, it's funny how women can say things. But if we do, we get in trouble. Say, I'd like you better if you weren't 275 pounds. But you can't say that. But they can say any diss. And I didn't answer her. Mike, I said, I like you better with shorter hair. And I didn't answer her again. You know I can hear you. Have you ever looked in the mirror? I want to say, have you ever looked in the mirror at yourself? Do you think that if you take your clothes off and look at yourself, I'm going to value your opinion of how I ought to look? Why do women set themselves up as the experts of how you men should dress, look, and wear your hair? And then you look at them and you go, excuse me? Who appointed you as a fashion designer and statement of me? And people get mad at Mike, she just saying, don't say it. I look better with long hair. I look better with short hair. Depends on who you ask. I like the long hair on me. I like the look. I cut it because it was frizzy. The South, I thought humidity would be good for hair. Apparently it isn't. My hair would have had more natural oils in it in Denver because humidity just kills things down here. Why do women set themselves up as a so-called expert of how Michael ought to look or what he ought to wear when you have no self-control over your disorders and habits and addictions? People scare me. People scare me. Their need to smoke, their need to have marijuana, their need to get drunk, their need to do all these things that would make it I couldn't live in the same building with that. And our society, that's growing, by the way. Okay. Hey, you with the foreign name, you're going to be blocked as soon as I get off here. You're a loser. Somebody's listening and they're going on other videos and leaving comments. So keep doing it. As soon as I'm done, we'll go in there and block you. And you'll be on hide and you won't be able to leave any comments. So waste your time. And YouTube's watching that now. Lose your channel, dude. Keep doing it. They're going after people. They're going after people making multiple IDs, which is awesome. That couldn't have come at a better time. They need to do something about these trolls. .303 area code. That's Denver. So one of the things I've struggled with in a church, in a workplace, in many places across the American landscape is when you run into somebody who's not doing what they're supposed to do and you go to talk to somebody in authority and they say things, well, that's just the way they are. But then that same person will come up to you when you do something that's way less than that. And I'm going to start doing that. Well, that's just the way I am. But Mike, but no. You don't want to correct this guy. Now you want to correct me. And Michael's gone through that. My mother, the teachers I grew up with, watching people get favoritism at work for being atrociously rude. And there is a caste system at work. When you're the worker ants and you're the peons and you're not favored, you don't have any rights. I hate to tell you this, you don't have any rights. Unless you're that privileged group that can show up late, call out, clown around all day, and not lose your job. I never thought I'd be talking about this in 2025. I used to work at a time where it was easy to get fired. And most people walked with sobriety at their jobs because they didn't want to get fired. People are begging to be fired and the management won't fire them. And those of us who do a good job have to worry more about being fired than those that don't. Yes. Thank you for watching, everybody. I'm just throwing things out there. But yeah, I agree with Australia. I think they should get the children off the social media. It's not making them better people. They're all following and copying each other. And kids are losing personality. They're losing touch with the individual, unique way God made them. And they're trying to manufacture themselves like all the other, pardon me, dum-dums on the internet. Goo gobs of makeup, dye your hair, act stupid, do silly music. Now you got a mother and a little daughter on there doing a video saying 6767 and Merry Christmas. That's really awesome to see a grown woman saying 67 like the kids. It's disgusting. If there's no clear separation between us as adults and a minor, something's off. I mean, I love kids. I like respectful teens. But we can't be, we better not be that close. And parents, it's not your job to be friends with the kids. It's your job to be a parent. Teacher, it's not your job to be friends with the kids. It's your job to teach. And you teachers that are teaching lies and teaching that there is no God and teaching that Marxism and changing your sexual identity, there's a Bible verse for you. Better a millstone be hung around your neck and drown in the depths of the sea than to teach or cause one of these little ones to stumble. All you educators out there, all you false teachers out there, Mark Zuckerberg and all the people that are the owners of this internet and not doing something about all these underage girls doing their TT dances, you're going to be in trouble for that. You need adults to come in and say, look, I'm a grown man. And before you call me a pervert, I don't need to see a young lady showing her breasts on the internet. Because I'm a man and I have biology. I don't need to be exposed to that. These young ladies need to be taught how to dress. Because we're human. And before you put us men down, you women out there better be in control of your damn daughters in their bedroom and say, what are you doing on the internet? And it's interesting to notice in Revelation, it says that sexual immorality will be at such an all-time high that when God sends a major judgment in the tribulation, it says, and yet they repented not of their idolatry, sorceries, and sexual immoralities. Dude, it's coming. We're coming right back to the winter solstice days. Do you know what went on? All you people saying Merry Christmas, you're all part of that. I hate that word, Christmas. That's not Christ, Christmas. Really? It's pagan to the core. Read about what went on in the winter solstice. Family beds were shared with families and children and people and adults all naked and getting drunk and Yuletide. Read about it. Don't believe me? Read about it. Go read deeper and read about how women would get an orgasm watching people torn apart by lions at the Colosseum. That women actually get turned on by violence and will finger themselves. You think I'm joking around? You think I'm stupid? Go dig and start reading. Start reading about why churches have Gothic arches. The head of a penis, and the mosques, and the Catholic Church, and older evangelical buildings that it's such a beautiful structure. Why is that side window shaped like a wiener? Read about the religions of Petra. Read about the religions of Nimrod. Read about it. Do your study. We're coming back to that again. History does repeat itself. And they're going to be they're already sacrificing our children to Molech and false gods. They're doing it through the public education system. teaching them there is no God, teaching kids they can have transgender surgery, but the parents have no say-so. They're polluting and corrupting our children, and then they're going to put them out there as sexual commodities. When they pave the way for two gay people to get married and bed down, it's only a matter of time before they'll start making it legal for kids and adults to play around. Facebook's paving the way with Reels. And everybody needs to petition every congressional leader and say, what is going on with Facebook? And they need to put Zuckerberg in a federal penitentiary. I'm saying this as a grown man because I struggle with lust, and this stuff is getting out of control. Don't call me a pervert. Call Zuckerberg and everybody on that Facebook staff that tells us we violated our community standards for posting something conservative. But they won't do anything about porn and minors. We got a problem, folks, and it's not being addressed. I wouldn't want a teen girl in my house with a half shirt on and no bra. I would be struggling with that. I'm a grown man. I've been alone. You got some teen being all sweet on me. It's going to be real hard for me to keep my head in the right place. And they're doing it all over the damn internet. Adults, where are you? Where are you? They're children. I'm admitting something profound. Who's going to stand up and stop the free fall? Who's going to speak out? I complained about those videos to Facebook. Well, we reviewed your complaint and found that it did not violate our community standards. So Facebook is saying it's okay for 50, 60, 70-year-old men, because I look at the picture next to, wow, you're hot, you're beautiful, you got talent. These are gray-haired men, balding, pot-gutted men looking at your girls parading around with this. And before you call those men perverts, you better stop and back up your bus. They're alone. Do you think because I'm almost 60, my sex drive evaporates? You think there's something wrong with me? If a teen girl walked in here who's got tots and no bra and I can see it all, you think that's not going to have an effect on me? It's biology at that point. Maturely, I know that dad and me don't belong together, but the body chemistry is there. Why are you letting your girls do that? Mom, dad, whoever is in charge? You don't need to go to a cabaret now. You don't need to go buy a magazine. You can sit in the privacy of your home and go all day long on the internet. Facebook's encouraging it. Social media is encouraging it. Who owns the social media? Leftists, liberals, Christ-denying, God-denying, pro-evolutionists, the greatest danger facing this country is global warming. No, it's moral breakdown is the biggest danger. No manners, no respect. When kids are going F you to grown adults. When a mob of teens in Chicago attacks a woman for no reason on the streets, what are we doing? Our kids are turning to dogs. And grown boys, well, they never did grow up. They get on public transportation or setting women on fire, slitting their throats. You better pay attention, society. This young generation coming up behind us is a danger to us, not a blessing. And our educators need to be held accountable. And our school systems need to be taken back and overhauled and get all these feminist liberal women out of the halls of academia. We need men to be educators too. We need men that stand up for the truth. We need science to be science again, not atheistic, faith-based baloney. And that's what it's become. Is anybody in agreement here? Am I talking out of my butt cheeks? I don't think so. I'm a grown man and there's a problem out there. Our sexuality is more complicated than we realize. And no, not pronouns. But when a grown man's alone and you got all this stuff being paraded at you and you're alone and you go to work and you go home, just like that song. Sometimes we all drift into our private world. Well, our private world is not so private anymore. Everybody's getting online to seek validation, to show themselves off, to put themselves out there. And you got lonely men and you got lonely women, and that's a bad combo. And you got a young generation that the guardians, adults, parents aren't paying attention to what they're doing or getting involved in their life, and they're blurring the lines between adult and children. So I agree with Australia. I think Australia is making a wise decision. Get these kids off the social media. I think it's a very good thing. I think America needs to do the same thing. They're not mature enough. They're not ready for this. And you take us men who are lonely out here, and you got all this stuff going on here, it's not good. It's not good. We got enough temptation. We don't need all this other stuff thrown at us. Mothers, stop being friends with your girls and stop dressing like them. Be a mom and set the standard. Oh, that's going to get me in trouble. I'm just saying. You're a parent. You have to live up to a higher expectation, whether you want to or not. If you don't want to be a parent, then don't get pregnant. And no, don't have an abortion. Don't have sex. I'm glad I can talk to my male friends that I made. I'm glad I can talk to them about everything. I'm glad I can tell them about, man, it's getting crazy out there. And our society is more online than ever before. We pay more now for communications than ever before. But how many real, close, heart-to-heart, soul-to-soul relationships are we making because of this? I've been blessed. There's a few women I talk to because of this channel. There's a couple women here in America, one in Ohio, one in Pennsylvania. We can have good intellectual conversations. That's worth a lot to me. There's two grown men and their wives that I've become friends with. Both of them, both the couples have set foot in this house. So I try to go for the gold. But I speak out about everything because we need to. I'm a grown man. You can't comment because chat has been turned off. And there's sometimes people can't comment on a short. I don't know why that is. That's a YouTube glitch. Because every short I got, people leave comments, and some people say they can't. You haven't been blocked if I can see your comment. Sometimes YouTube glitches, and it does it a lot. In Australia years ago, there was a teen girl and her mother were doing lesbian acts in the bedroom, and they left the window open and the blind open, and a neighbor could see from his house and watch them going at it. And he turned it in, and it went to court, and the daughter stood up and said, "My mom did nothing wrong. I love this." The lines between adults and children have been blurred. But watch this. If a white man, say 25, 30, dates a 15, 16-year-old, oh, sex offender, pedophile, and everybody's going to shout out, oh, he's a sex offender. But then women his age will cock block him and you're not worthy enough to date me. Our society is fooked up. And I said it the other day when I'm in Tampa years ago, and a South American gal living in the U.S., 15 years old, carries herself like a lady, drop dead gorgeous, having an adult conversation. I thought it was the man sitting next to his wife. And I can't have that conversation with 99.9% of white women in America. If they're really good looking, they're not going to talk to me. If they're really good looking and intellectual, they're not going to talk to me. And that messes with the mind. There's a slang term that's not appropriate. It's called mind F. That's a mind F. Man, she's underage. I'm attracted to her. We're having a good conversation. And I can't even let my thoughts go where they want to go because it's not right. But if I look at a woman who's 30 and attractive, they're going to go, oh my gosh, he thinks he can get a date with me? Hey, Hoocha Chuka, get off my channel. That's what, the fourth or fifth comment you left? You'll be hidden and reported. So, I thank you, my viewers, for the thumbs up. I thank you for the support in your comments. I don't make money at this. There have been people that have sent gifts and stuff and some money, but people will throw money at foolishness. And I've not made memberships. People told me, Mike, you could earn money on memberships. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to charge people to listen to my channel. I want it to be free will. People want to give, they can give. Hashtag Pacific Ocean Asia 77. Hashtag Pacific Ocean Asia 77. I talk because I want to. I'm going to do the channel irregardless. This is my fun. This is my hobby. And if you benefit from it, praise God. If you don't like my channel, click the red X and keep it moving. For you to keep leaving comments and you to keep being a troll shows everybody here you're the idiot. Because I don't stick around something that's not worth my time. I don't waste my time because you're not going to change somebody else's mind. I'm old enough to realize each man is going to be convinced in their own mind, even if they're wrong. Shake the dust off your feet and move on. Thank you for listening, viewers. And may you all have a good, safe day. And it's Thursday. It's getting closer to the weekend. Be safe out there.